Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of two different knives. There's four of them here because there are different variants of it, but two different knives from Poikilo. These are the last two that I'm going to be doing a review on. So let's talk about these guys. All right, today I'm looking at the last two Poikilo knives that I have been loaned. These are two pretty amazing ones. One is the Zen. This is the one that won the Best Factory Folder at Blade Show Texas 2025 this year. I was there when they won that. I thought that was really, really cool. It is a very, very cool little knife here. It's in conjunction with another designer whose name I cannot remember, but he's got a cool little, looks like a fox there. I'm going to remember this. What I'll try to do is I'll try to put them up here because I actually spoke to the gentleman on Instagram, and they're the ones who designed this. And I told them, I said, hey, I can do middle finger reverse flick on this knife. See, look at this. Both left and right handed. I think it's really nice. Now, the only thing I did mention is the thumb studs. These are a little uncomfortable for me, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But otherwise, it's a fantastic kind of a cool little knife. This is the one that actually won Blade Show Texas, the award. This actual knife is the winner right here, which I think is pretty stinking cool. This other one here is the Mini Tuna. This is a brand new knife they just came out with. Hasn't even been released yet. You might be seeing it at certain places. There's a regular tuna that's a front flipper. This one actually has a back flipper and thumb studs. I think the regular tuna is just a front flipper, if I remember correctly. I don't have it, but it's a smaller knife. And so if you were going, man, I wish it was something a little smaller, well, here you go. This is it. And I find it almost too small for my hands, but it's still a very well-made knife, which is what I find true about all knives from Poikilo. Is they are just phenomenal. They are just absolutely phenomenally done and phenomenally made. And so they're a joy to carry and to hold. I own two. I have the Gecko and the Taro. I'm thinking of might want to get the Orca at some point. But anyways, those are the knives that I really very much enjoy, and I've been in my collection. I put skiffs in them, I've tuned them, they're buttery smooth. These are the knives that they actually use at blade shows. They show, everybody's been handling it thousands of times. You may see some nicks, some scratches, because people at the blade show, they'll drop a knife on another and do stuff like that. There's some of the mid-tech ones that I've already done my reviews on. You'll see that, because I did a whole review on all their mid-techs together, because it was a pretty overwhelming group of knives worth checking out. All right, so let's get into this real quick. All right, so the knife names are, this is the Mini Tuna. There's a regular tuna. This is the mini version of this. And then this one right here is the Zen. And there's just the Zen, that's it. The manufacturer is Poikilo Knives. They are their own OEM. They work with their own OEM directly. So they are not outsourced to anybody else. As far as I understand, they use their own OEM, their own manufacturing facility. And the designer, I believe this is an in-house. I believe this one that is done with somebody else. I cannot remember who it is, but like I said, I'll try to have that up here again, or at least up here, right? Really, really cool designer, I think. So I like the small lock bar, which is really cool. I think that's a nice feature. All right, so that's the designer. So the materials, all Poikilo knives all come in M398 blade steel. You'll see that right there, M398 blade steel, and I believe this one has, where is it? It says it's somewhere on here. Oh, here it is. You can see that right there, M398 blade steel, right there. You see that? So M398 blade steel. That's something that it's really nice, premium. So if you wonder what's M398, the way I describe it, I mean, my Herman Knives has M398, and some other high-end ones will use that. I think the Custom Knife Factory that do a lot of stuff, they do use that as well. It's not an exact science. I'm just kind of liking it. So if you think of, CPM 45 or Rex 45 or Rex 76, it's the crucible kind of type of powdered metal energy. I would compare it to their S110V or something, or S90V, right? It's a higher edge retention. It's gonna retain its edge longer. That's one of the benefits of it. So that's the one thing I really know about, but I don't know much more than that. So I'm not a metallurgist. So go read up Laren Thomas. He's got some great stuff on that. I definitely recommend that. But the material's M398. If you'll notice, this is a bead blasted. I don't know. You almost call it like a polished, kind of sandblasted. It's really pretty. It's more than just bead blasted. It's very fine. This is similar, but this is DLC, and this is DLC as well. That's one thing I do know. And they're a little more expensive, just like this is DLC as well. This is not the high polish like their mid-tech, but it's still DLC, and it's done really, really well. So I think it's really nice. And then this, again, is that same polished sort of look that they have. It's like bead blasted polish. It's really nice. I think it's pretty cool. How does it open? Well, the Mini Tuna has multiple openings. Now, it has a full clip, which is nice. It easy to get in and out of. It has a little bit of a steep angle there, which is kind of frustrating at times, right? Hidden hardware. You don't see one but a pivot screw there. This is a flipper, even though it's also where it engages the tang of the bar, or the lock. So you disengage that, and then parts of it come off. This slide off. There's actually a video on this where you unscrew this, and then this comes off, and you get to underneath the other screws. And so it comes apart in stages. And I think that's kind of cool, at least for this guy right here. This also has a front flipper. So, you know, it's one of these that you can't go straight back because you're going to hit that. So you got to kind of go up, and then it works, right? And then you have thumb studs. Now, these are not my favorite thumb studs because I got big old giant meaty fingers. I always like thumb studs that have a little more of a kind of a conical shape at top. Not quite, you know, a pyramid or cone like Chris Reeve knives, which is very frustrating. That's the exact opposite of what I like, but at least a little kind of a curved ramp so I can get over them. Don't like barrels. These almost feel like barrels with a sharp edge. Not super sharp, but you know, it's not the most comfortable, especially if you got big old hands. And so I will tell you, like Tactile Knife Company, the Rockwall, I love the Rockwall. I hit the flipper. It wasn't caged bearings. Really always wanted them to make a larger version of it. But the one that came out with thumb studs was really cool, but I can't get my fingers in there. I was so uncomfortable with my big old meaty fingers. You can already see that getting raw and tender from using this because it's hard for me to get my fingers in there. So this has multiple deployments. It's got a huge swedge, so that really kind of takes away the ability for that middle finger reverse flick that you might be able to do, but still very, very cool. Very multiple abilities to deploy. This one over here as well, you see the screw in there, and you have a screw there, and that's how that disassembles, which is a lot like my Gecko, if you ever watched my Gecko video. So this unscrews and then it comes apart. It's really quite brilliant. This has a single thumb stud. This is a very sharp barrel type of thumb stud. This is the most uncomfortable thumb stud of all the Poikilo knives I've checked out. And I've checked out 18 different Poikilo knives. This is the most uncomfortable one. A lot of the other ones are fantastic and phenomenal. If that doesn't bother you, if you don't have big old giant meaty fingers like me and you don't care, then you're not going to be bothered by it. I will tell you, middle finger reverse flick is almost as good as just like any of the thumb studs that it could be. I like that a lot. I wish there was a little jimping on here because that could easily be a front flipper. It could be a hidden little front flipper. All you'd have to do is just put a little jimping on here and call it just for the jimping up here. If you did that, man, I'd have an extra deployment method, but it's too smooth for me to be able to use that. And if you were to put it in there, you would, you know, cut away at the DLC. So it'd be kind of a bummer. But this thumb stud, man, it is like the knife I want to love, but the thumb stud just kills me. So my one recommendation, if they happen to improve this, they want to do a Gen 2 or improve it, is maybe consider different thumb studs for that knife. I think that would improve it, in my personal opinion. It would open the door for people like me with big old meaty hands, because this is almost at that size where it's not too small, right? I can carry this. Oops. I get better, seems to have a better, no, you know what it is? Yeah, the detent is a lot crisper on this one. So I tune my knives a lot too. So if it's a front flipper, I always tune for the front flipper. This is not a front flipper. You can't use it as a front flipper. It's a thumb stud. Typically, thumb stud is a little crisper, but this is an uncomfortable thumb stud. So using the middle finger reverse flick is not as easy on this guy as it is in the other one. Can I do it back here? Yeah, I can do that. All right. So again, just keep that in mind. If you got big old hands, that's something. It's just something to keep in mind. So that's how it opens and closes. It is a frame lock on both of these guys. This is a liner lock. I would call this a true liner lock. Is it? Yeah, it's titanium. Titanium for sure. Steel. Yeah, steel pivot. All right. So titanium. Does it have? Let's take a look. Yeah, steel bar insert. So there's a steel bar insert over there, which means steel on steel, which is good. So you don't have any worry about lock stick, and you have that as well here. You can see the steel bar insert, and there is an over travel stop. Don't know if I can get that highlighted. Can you see that? There you go. So you have that. In here, you have weight relief on the liners, which I think is nice. Even though they're titanium, there's still weight relief on there. I think that's pretty cool. Likewise, you have weight relief over here on these as well. A lot of nice cutaway out there. The lock bar is relatively thin, so that's nice as far as action. Now, one thing about the lock bar, there's a lot of cutaway, easy access. You don't have to do a lot of chamfering if you do this. I mean, you can leave it just like this, just round it, and that's all you got to do. But you could put chamfering. Some people chose to do that. Some people don't. I mean, you don't have to on something like this. Now, when it catches, it does drop like this. I don't have to worry about the guillotine on my finger, which to me is one of the benefits of this knife right here, right? Except for the thumb studs. Oh, but this one over here, because it's so small, right? You don't clear the detent till, so you get double clutch right there. So you have to clear there, but by then it's already past here, and then it's going to be falling down. And then you've got that sharp edge that's going to be cutting into my fingers. So, I mean, unless it catches on my nail or something, I would want a bigger choil. Just a little bigger sharpening choil would make that a little bit easier or something. I don't know. But that's me. That's me. When you do flippers on both sides, that's always the catch. That flipper on this side, always you have to clear it, and then usually you don't have a place to catch the. Ooh, that's. Yeah. So if you got a big old hand, the thing about a small knife like this, I got to go down low to get under the thumb stud, and then it's more comfortable. If I do it up here and the angle's not right, boy, it digs in. It really digs in. So you go down here low, and it's perfectly fine. But it's a small knife, so I have to really slide all over the place to make it work. Just keep that in mind. I still, as much as I criticize, let me step back up. So I don't criticize because I don't like. I just find out things from my ergonomics and what I like and what I don't like, right? And I share that with you because if you have similar ergonomics or something that you're concerned about, I want to share that, right? If you have smaller hands, you're going to appreciate some of these things. If you have larger hands, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to some of these things. I think they're all very important. But they're my experience to hopefully help you make a more educated decision. So if you don't care about thumb studs and you historically, like for instance, the Osborne never had an issue with the thumb stud, the tactile knife company Rockwell never had an issue with the thumb studs, you're going to love these. You're absolutely 100% going to love these. If you've had issues, if they were uncomfortable, just keep that in mind. That's where I'm coming from, right? So the closing here with the frame lock, absolutely outstanding. The access here, yeah, there's some chamfering here. Is it kind of cut away? Let me see. I do believe it might have a little bit of height on there. It does. It is a little bit higher than the other one. Okay. It is just a slight bit higher. And so, okay. It's not a super stiff lock bar, so it's relatively easy to get to. But again, it's small, so it's a matter of what you enjoy, right? I find this a little bit small for me, but it does get you a little access in there. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, the blade on this one, sheep's foot. It's got the bow to it. It does come around up here like that. I mean, typically it's a little square. I mean, you could call it a Wharncliffe because a Wharncliffe comes over, so it's a modified. Wharncliffe, sheep's foot, whatever, maybe even whatever that belly Nessie kind of look thing there. And over here, I think it's definitely a drop point. This is a traditional drop point with a big, huge swedge. Almost gives it sort of a dagger look, but it's not. It's not a dagger because there's, spine up here. One thing, never sharp all around there. You'll always find that beautifully detailed. All these things are beautifully detailed. This one officially, yeah. You can't quite see it, and once you sharpen, you'll probably lose it, but there's a point right there. There's technically a point right there. So, I mean, is it a Tonto? I don't know. I doubt it, but you know what I mean? You could make an argument for that. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's get some measurements on these guys. Let's see how much they weigh. All right, so I'm going to close these up. I'm assuming they're all going to weigh the same, and it'll be a nice little check, right? They should weigh pretty close to each other. I'd be surprised if they were radically different. All right, so let's look at the Zen. The Zen here weighs 3.2 ounces. The Zen DLC weighs 3.2 ounces. All right, so the Tuna is going to weigh about the same, 3.1 ounces. The Tuna reverse tux is going to weigh 3.1 ounces. So about very similar in weight as far as the two goes. So this one's just a little bit heavier. All right, so let's measure the length of these guys. I'll do the Mini Tuna first, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be the same. So you're looking at a knife that's just 7 1/8 inches. 7 1/8, maybe, yeah, 7 1/8 inches. The handle on this one is 3.5 inches. Not really a choke up, but 3.5 is what you got. So it is definitely on the smaller side. Blade length here to the very tip is 3 1/8. And over here, you're about 1/8, right? Cutting length over here is just over 3 1/4. Just over 3 1/4. So it's about the same. So 3.5, just keep that in mind. I got big old giant meaty hands. large hands with big meaty fingers, I'm over the edge right here. And if I choke up, go up a little bit, that's the only way I can get around that. It is on the smaller side. The clip is a little sharp there, which is unfortunate. Yeah, it's definitely a little sharp. It's not my preference to have that there. So I would definitely want to round that off. Just keep that in mind. If that works for you, cool. If it doesn't, then you know. All right, so let's see. Is this guy about the same? We're 7 inches. We are 7 3/8. So 7 3/8 on that one. And then on this one, we are 7 3/8 as well. So 7 3/8. Overall, if you can choke up all the way there. So you got over 4 inches on this one, 4 inches on that one as well, which is nice. And then the blade shape from the tip to the back is going to be 3 1/4, 3 1/4, just under 3 1/4 because it kind of rounds out a little bit. The cutting edge is going to be a little bit more longer than that. It's going to be 3. Sorry, that's 3 1/8. Sorry, 3 1/8. And then the blade is 3 1/4. The cutting edge is 3 1/4. All right, so 3 1/8 for the overall from the tip to the top of the scale, but the blade is longer. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, can that lay flat? Yeah, that one can lay flat. I know my gecko has kind of a beautiful spine on it. It's very unique. I like it, but it doesn't always lay flat. And these guys all can. So we can get our blade stock thicknesses on these guys. So let's do that. All right, so we'll do the Mini Tuna first. Blade stock thickness on this one is going to be 128 thousandths of an inch. Let's try this one. 127 thousandths of an inch. Pretty close. Let's see about these guys. Are they thinner? 127 thousandths of an inch. 129 thousandths of an inch. That's interesting. The DLC is always a little bit longer. So I guess 0.01 inches. You get a little extra length from the DLC. Very, very interesting. All right, so what are we talking about in prices? Well, I believe this one is like 400, 425, somewhere around there. This one's going to be about 385, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's 400. We'll have to double check. I'll definitely have the links for them down below. This one as well. These were about 400. I'm going to double check that real quick. All right, I'm back. $500, 450. 419, and 470. That's the price for these guys. All right, so they're definitely over $300. You're definitely into the high-end range. You're not definitely into the custom mid-tech realm, but it's definitely not cheap, right? So just keep that in mind. The build is outstanding. If you haven't watched any of my other videos of my other reviews of the Poikilos, I have like 7 unboxings and I have several reviews of these guys just because I got a chance to check so many out. One thing, whether you like the design or not, there's something out there. There's a design out there I believe you'll connect with. They do so many different creative, awesome designs, but their build quality, their OEM work is just top notch. I love Riot. I love Best Tech, and I've handled the highest versions of those, and they're phenomenal. These are better. This is the next step up. If Riot was to improve, this is where they would improve to. That's my honest opinion. You can agree to disagree. You may not agree with me. I really believe like if Poikilo did OEM work and someone like, let's say, Null Knives had them do this, Null Knives would step into another realm. They would absolutely go into mid-tech. I mean, that would make Null Knives a whole different entity together. Now, I could see Poikilo Knives doing a collab with Null Knives. I think that would be ridiculously awesome because they could show off their OEM work and Null Knives design aesthetic. I think that would be beautiful. Something like that. But legitimately, I think that's the thing about Poikilo. They just really outstanding stuff. I don't know. They got special sauce. They got secret sauce. They got secret. I mean, it's just they've got some people who know what they're doing, and it's pretty cool. So that's the price range. EDC, hard use, collection pieces, absolutely. Poikilo, every one of their pieces looks like it could be a collection piece. Now, I happen to carry everything I own, and so I would absolutely use and carry everything. I have the Gecko and I have the Taro, and the Taro I both carry. They're not mid-techs. I would have loved to have gotten one of the mid-techs. I think it would have been cool, but I'm glad it's not because then I can use it and abuse it like I want. But for some people, this is going to be a safe queen. You may not want to touch it. You buy what you love and love what you buy, and when you buy it, it's yours. You do what you want, right? You do you with yours. You do not have to answer to anybody else with your collection. It's your knife, right? So if you want to safe queen it, safe queen it. If you want to carry it, safe carry it. If you want to beat it up and abuse it, do that, right? Now, when I carry nicer knives, I usually have a fixed blade with me, something I can not worry about, slip joint, something like that. These guys would fall into that right now because they're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. All right. So hard use, absolutely. EDC, absolutely. Collection piece, absolutely. 100%. All right. Ergos and feel. Let's talk about the overall design, the handles. The Mini Tuna is a nice concept if it was just not so many. This is almost like a micro. Compared to the Tuna to this, I feel like if there was a Tuna in between, it would have been nice. This is just a little too small. So if you have smaller hands, I'm sure this is going to be outstanding. But remember, I'm reviewing it from my size hands, my big old meaty fingers, my perspective, and you do relative to me, right? Opening, closing is phenomenal. It is buttery smooth. If you can get right leverage to the thumb stud, it works pretty nicely. If I got to go low, going up, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's because my hand's so big. Sometimes I'm up high and I go in, it's the wrong angle, and boy, it's uncomfortable. This little flipper does work. It's not the most ideal because it's really the tang of the blade where you engage with lock bar, but it does work. You can do the light switch. I don't think the push button doesn't work as nicely as a light switch. You can do a front flick, but as long as you kind of go with the angle of the blade here, it'll be fine. If you try to go that way, you're going to hit this, you're going to stop, right? So just keep that in mind, right? There's not, because the swedge here is so large, which is a beautiful aesthetic. I cannot deny that. I don't really have any leverage to have bonus flick on this guy. Again, a little small. There is a place for a lanyard. Every one of these Poikilo always has a place for a lanyard. And even if it's clandestine, you can't see it, it's there. And it doesn't take priority. So you can see pretty deep carry on this guy. Likewise, over here, we've got a pretty deep carry as well. I mean, it's not like totally hidden, but that's pretty darn nice. Pretty darn nice. The jimping on here, this one, the jimping's actually functional. It works, locks you in really well. So I like the jimping on here. The jimping on here is aesthetic. It's three holes. It's pretty. It's a slicer. It's a thin blade. It's a pretty blade. It's nice. There is a swedge technically up here, I guess you'd call it, but it's a big bellied kind of a slicer there. So I would say that. Yeah, just so uncomfortable. It's so close. It's so close. If I could put different thumb studs, if they offered an option of different thumb studs, so go for that. Anyways, opening and closing is nice. I'd say the Tuna again. You're dealing with that. Like I said, action, a little small, all that stuff. So overall feel, beautifully buttery smooth. I will just tell you the Zen, using the middle finger reverse flick. Okay, let's do the DLC because it's a little smoother, a little more broken in on DLC, and I have better action on this one. So it's much easier to do the middle finger reverse flick. It's beautiful action. Now, I tune every one of my knives so that I can do a control shut, drop, and I think you could do that with, I've done it with both Poikilo I own, so I'm pretty sure you could do it with these guys. And their finishes are so nice. Inside, the milling, the channel for the cage bearings, superb, absolutely superb. So putting skiffs in there is just like putting a little extra goodness in there. The OEM bearings, the OEM cage bearings are nice. They're some of the nicer OEM cage bearings I've seen out there. I will let you know. They're really good. They're just not, they're not skiffs. Okay. I like skiffs, and it's not, I would do skiffs, whether I had an affiliate, whether you had to, use my discount code or not, I would still keep on using skiffs. If Steve Skiff stopped it today, still be buying skiffs, still using them. I like skiffs. I've liked skiffs well before I even became an affiliate, before I even did a channel. I have used skiffs forever. So I put skiffs on here. And I always like to say, it's a little bit of custom goodness in every knife, in a production knife. Kind of gives you a little custom extra. These are already pretty nice, and this makes them even nicer. All right, so overall, the fidget factor, what do I think? This one has the most fidget factor. I'm going to give this one a 7. I'm going to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a 6 because the thumb studs aren't the most comfortable. The front flipper, you got to make sure you clear, and this little guy right here, you got to make sure you get a full light switch action, get clear out of the way, right? Because if you don't clear out of the way, let's see here. Let's try to do this. Close this. I almost did it, but I do that. See, I catch right there. It hits my finger. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 as far as that. This one over here, it has bonus middle finger reverse flick. If that thumb stud was outstanding, and I have a knife with a single thumb stud. I love it. It's my Cypress from Rob Johnson's knives. Really good. I would give this like a 4, maybe even a 4.5. But because the thumb stud is so uncomfortable, do not like the thumb stud, I'm going to give this a 3. 2.5. It's going to get a 2.5, honestly. I got to be fair. It's a 2.5. The thumb stud is really one of the most uncomfortable ones since Rockwall, Tactile Knives, the Rockwall, which, just so you know, I did hear that might be coming in a new version, a bigger version. If that's true, if what I heard is true, I'm excited. I'm super excited. So we will see. We will see. But anyways, I also did talk to Andy at Poikilo, and he did think about maybe trying some different thumb studs. I will tell you, I would take these or the one that's one of the mid-tech. I think it's the Salvatore and the Komodo. They have different thumb studs. It's like a little more rounded version of this, a little bit bigger. This is kind of still a little small, a little more edgy. Those ones are a little more rounded on top. If he would put that on there, I think it would be phenomenal. That would be night and day. And that might actually make it really work for me. It's just this edge. It's just too sharp right there. And that's what digs in. I can't get my finger into that part where it's rounded. You see that? I can't get in there, and I can't get that leverage because my finger's just too big. Now, if you got a smaller finger, you can get in there. Probably a piece of cake, right? All right. So this one's going to get, what did I say? 2.5. This one's going to get a 5. All right. So what do I think is the fidgety goodness? I'm going to give this one an 88, 89, a B plus, almost an A, B plus. Really good because of all the options that you have. I think it's really nice. Thumb studs are definitely, I think, could be better. I think where it loses also a lot of points is the knife is too small for me, right? It's a challenge. And I think if you have smaller hands, smaller, shorter fingers, you're going to really like that. It's going to be a really nice fit. Or if you like knives that are like that. This one over here, this one's going to get an 80, B minus. It's just, I mean, you know, it could be a B if it wasn't that I keep losing this one over here. Yeah, traction. That one has better traction. It's going to be a B minus over here. I think thumb stud changing that could move it from a B minus to an A minus immediately. And now if I tuned it and did my own, you'd probably get it up to an A, right? So I think it could get there. I don't know what thumb studs fit in there because these look like brass. I don't know if that's custom and all sorts of stuff, and I wouldn't even want to try to do that if I owned a knife, right? But having experienced it, I know right now I would not buy this knife, right? That's just me because of my hands, my shape. But like I said, if you got smaller hands, you might absolutely love this. So is it recommended? I think this is recommended. So here's my caveat. Almost every Poikilo knife I'm going to say is phenomenal. If you like the aesthetic, if the things that I point out aren't important to you, consider me recommending it to you, right? Individually. For me, myself, what do I think about it? Am I going to recommend it if you have the exact same expectations like I do? You like the same things or similar. You have the same ergonomic, challenges like I do. I'm going to tell you this is not recommended. I don't recommend against it. It's just not recommended. Change a couple things and this thing will be phenomenal. Over here, it's just too small. I think my wife or somebody else would love this, right? I think, again, this is the size factor over here for me. Now, if you like smaller knives, even if you have bigger hands and you love working with smaller knives, this is not going to bother you. You're going to be able to do that. I think you're going to be fine, all right? So that's where I stand on these guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. See where you stand on your knives. So I'd love to hear from you. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the channel really helps me out, allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone out there who watches the videos, enjoys the content, part of the community. I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you. If you haven't already, maybe hit that notification button down there as well, so you can be notified of future content like this and other videos. And a big shout out to my channel members out there. You do two amazing things for me. You encourage me. You're like a workout buddy. The other thing you do is, because of your generous support, you allow me to do things way sooner than I ever thought. I can do once a week budget banger giveaways. I can check out knives and cover the cost of those things. I can do a bunch of things on this channel I never thought I would be able to do. So I appreciate that. I am so grateful to you guys for that and for that support. It really means the world to me. And I try to do two things for you. One, I'd like to do a once a month members exclusive giveaway for the members. Exclusively for you, just my way to say thank you. Definitely more than a budget banger, and usually at the end of the budget banger giveaway in that week, something nicer just for you guys to say thank you. It's not my way to do anything else but just to say thank you. The other thing is, as a brand new channel member, I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and a little thank you note. So if you just became a brand new channel member recently, I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and a thank you note. Email me with your name and address. I will do that. Now, here's the thing. It's for anybody who's actively currently a member, who's never asked or never received a channel sticker. If that's you, whether you're a brand new channel member, usually that's brand new channel members, but if it was a member all along, you never asked, or you were a member and then became a member again, you could fall into that. If any of those are you, hey, email me with your name and address. I'd love to mail you a channel sticker. My way to say thank you. All right, I appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.